All right, let's go over operations and algebraic thinking number 2. So hopefully you have a lot of it done. If you don't, you're going to fill it in as we go, but you're trying to figure them out. So if you didn't know something, once I explain it, if you can keep going, then try to finish. Try and get there ahead of me. All right? So it says, is the second number a multiple of the first number? First, you're going to write yes or no, and then if yes, you're going to write an equation to show how you get to the number. So remember, a multiple is something that a factor can make. So think of counting by. So they have 7 and 35. If I counted by 7, can I get to 35? Is there something I can multiply 7 by to get to 35? Okay, so it means, what's the missing factor? So you have one factor, but remember, we did this yesterday on the video. You have to do factor times factor equals product. So you need two factors. So they're asking you, is this first number a factor of the larger number? That's really what they're asking you. The way they said it is this larger number a multiple of the smaller number? And if you have a missing factor, if you don't know those multiplication facts off the top of your head, then you do division. You do the opposite to see. Okay, so look at 8 and 18. Can 8 make 18 if we count by it? The answer is no. It's hard for me to show you both at the same time, so we're going to go through a couple of these, then I'll show you mine. Can 5 make 60? We're on number 3. So look at it, think about 5s. Anything that's divisible by 5, or 5 is a factor of it, has to end in 0 or 5. So can it be that? Can you get to 60? The answer is yes. Let's see if I can make this easier to see. The answer is yes. So I wrote, try not to cheat and look ahead there. I wrote it with the missing factor. 5 times something equals 60. If you don't know those multiplication facts, then you have to do the division. Sometimes you can do division in your head. Let's see if I can get fancy with this. There you go. These ones are blank. If you wrote it right here, we can do some of it in our head. So 5 goes into 6. It would look like this. I'd have to write the long division sign and have a 5 right there. 5 goes into 6 one time. 1 times 5 is 5, and I subtract that. I have 1 left, and I know that's smaller than my divisor, and bring down that 0. So now 5 goes into 10 how many times? 2. So my answer is 5 times 12 equals 60. Write that down. All right. So let's look at these next ones. Let's see if I have a blank sheet of paper. Okay. 3 and 39. Okay. If I count by 3s, can I get to 39? One of the easiest ways to figure it out for 3s is add those digits together. The 3 plus the 9. What does that equal? 9, 10, 11, 12. Can 3 go into 12? I can even add those digits together. 1 plus 2 is 3. Can 3 go into 3? Yes. So then I know that this number is a multiple of 3. The 3 is its factor. So 3 times something equals 39. So I can do the division. This is where some of my mental math can help me. There's 3 tens. Oops, sorry. There's 3 tens. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So if I have 3 tens and I divide them into 3 groups, there'll be 1 10 in each. So I'm going to put a 1. Now I have 9 ones. What's 9 divided by 3? 3. So 3 times 13, that's an odd looking 13, equals 39. Okay, let's look at the next one. 9 and 80. If you look at your multiplication chart, you'll see that 9 times 9 is, say it out loud, 81. So can 9 go into 80? There's only 1 less. Nope. Okay, try 2 and 60. What do you know about 2s? Anything that's even is a multiple of 2. or any even number, 2 is a factor of it. So what would 60 divided by 2 be? Cover up that 0. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and you put that 0 back on. So it's 2 times 30 is 60. Okay, and then the last one, 6 into 76. Is that a multiple of it? We'd have to go pretty far up on the multiplication chart, but you can see, like, if we're getting to 70s, think about 6 times 10. Well, that's 60. Okay, so that would be if I was dividing, I would have 110. Well, now I'd have 16 left. Can 6 go evenly into 16? 6, 12, 18? Nope. That answer is no. All right, let's look at Tuesdays. Okay, these ones say, write each sentence below as an equation. So this is something we need to practice a little bit. I can tell some of us are having some trouble with it, but once you get it in your head, I think you'll see pretty easily what they are. It says 64 is. When it tells you is, that's like equals. So write an equal sign above that. 4 times as many as 16. Times as many is which operation? Multiplication. So it's telling you 64 equals 4 times 16. Now, you could have written it that way, or the way we write, which is 4 times 16 equals 64. Why don't you write both of those down? Either way that you write them is correct, okay? Because it makes the same thing. But I want you to get used to seeing that odd way where the answer is first. 64 equals 4 times 6. And then here it says 15 groups of 3 is 45. I see is, what does that mean? Equals, write that down. And then groups of is multiplication. So it's 15 times 3 equals 45. Very quickly, I'm going to write the second way down for number 2. I want you to do 2 and 4 if you haven't finished those. Remember, is means equals, times as many is multiplication, and groups of is multiplication. Okay, so 2 and 4 should look like this. 3 times 5 equals 15, or 15 equals 3 times 5. And 12 groups of 8 is 46. 12 times 8, or excuse me, is 96. Okay, write those down. All right, let's look at Wednesday. Wednesday, I want you, I didn't put anything on here yet because I want you to remember what we started yesterday, circling the numbers as you go. It takes Cherish 48 minutes to walk from her house to the park. It takes Mandy 8 minutes. How many times longer does it take Cherish to get there? Write an equation with C representing the unknown value. Okay, so we circled the numbers, we underlined the question. Read the question out loud. How many times longer does it take Cherish to get there? And then we're gonna box in the key word. What's the key word or words that tells me if I'm adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? How many times? We know that's multiplication. Okay, how many times longer does it take Cherish to get there? Well, I know how long it takes Cherish. So that's going to be my answer. So that's equals 48. I could have written that on the line too. You can go ahead and write it on the line if you haven't already. And how long does it take Mandy? 8 minutes. And we know it's times. So right now I have a missing what? Factor. So how am I going to figure this out? How do I figure out when I have a missing factor? I do the opposite. The opposite of multiplication is division. So make this into a division problem. 48 divided by 8. Good. If you don't have it figured out already, get your multiplication chart out and see if you have the same answer as I do. 48 divided by 8 equals 6. Okay, so my answer is it takes 6 times as long. Okay, and then right here, it says write an equation with C representing the unknown value. So instead of a line, I should have written a C. 8 times C equals 48, or 48 divided by 8 equals C. And then the answer is 6. 6 times as long. Remember that letter just means it's an unknown number. We don't know what it is. It could be a C, it could be a B, an X, an A, really whatever you need. Okay? All right, look on the next part on Thursday. I have all of these written down, but I'm going to show you a couple of them that I want us to look at. So letter A, it says start at 1 and add 4. Okay, so one of the things we can do is use these 4 fingers and keep adding up. But I really want us to start making groups, all right? If you're not doing that, think of how can I get to a group of 10? And then what do I have left over? So you might still be using these fingers, but hopefully you're not just counting, okay? So they gave you 1, 5, and 9. So when I add 4 to it, I think 9 needs 1 to get to 10. So it's a 10 and 3. It's 13. Okay? And then think, well, there's 3 ones. What's 3 plus 4? 7. So it's 17. 7 needs, there's 4 fingers. It needs 3 of them to get to the next 10. Well, was that a 1? 10. So it'll be 2 10s and 1. 21. Plus 4 more. 1 plus 4 is 5. 25. And then we're back to the beginning. 5 plus 4 is 9, 29. 9 needs 1 to get to the next 10, so that gives me 33. That would be the next one. All right, start at 2, add 8. Okay, same thing, but instead of just counting, I want you to think of the different ways we can make 8. I can do 4 plus 4. I can do, if I do like this, I can do 6 plus 2. Or I can do 5 plus 3. Think of them in groups like that, okay? So 2, I know it needs 8 more to get to 10. So 2 plus 8 is 10. Well, there's a 0. I know 0 plus 8 would be 8, so it's 18. Now, an 8 needs 2 more to get to 10. So I can think of, 6 and 2. It needs 2 to get to 10, so 18 goes to 20, so it's 26 is the next one. And a 6 needs how many to get to 10? 4. 4 plus 4 is 8, so 4 gets it to the 30, and then 4 more, 34. Okay, how many does 4 need to get to 10? Oops. 6, so 6 will get it to 40, and there'll be 2 left, 42. And 2 plus 8 is 10, so the next 10 up is 50. 0 plus 8 is 58. Okay, this time we just subtracted, so look at these, going from 45, 45, 42, 39, 36, 33, 30, 27, 24. We just went down. Okay, start at 1, multiply by 4. Once I got to 16, I had to use some scratch paper and write it down. So these should be your numbers. If you don't have these ones, you may write them in. Even back here, I probably should have said that, but circle any that you don't have. Okay, so when we look at it, we remember, oh, you might need some practice with this. All right, so it goes 1, 4, 16, 64, 256, 1,024. All right. Subtracting by 5, we're counting by 5s backwards. 60, 55, 50, 45, 40, 35. All right? And then this one, I wanted to show you, you're just dividing everything by 2, but cover up those zeros. So now instead of 320, it's 32 divided by 2. Well, that's 16. And I put that 0 back on, it's 160. Okay, now take it off. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Put that 0 back on, it's 80. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Put the 0 on, it's 40. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Put the 0 back on, it's 20. And 20 divided by 2 is 10. Or if I had taken that 0 off, 2 divided by 1. Or excuse me, 2 divided by 2 is 1. All right, let's do Fridays together if you haven't already. Circle the numbers. It says Jared wants to buy a new video game system that costs $330. He already has saved $120, but he needs a plan to save the rest of the money. He decides to save the same amount of money, X. That means whatever that is in your equation, you're going to write an X for it each month for the next 6 months. So circle 6. What question are they asking you? Nothing yet. Right here it says write an equation with X representing how much Jared needs to save each month. So they're asking you, how much does Jared need to save each month? Underline that. Okay? And then what keywords do you see? One that I see is each. Each means multiply often, but you have to be careful because sometimes they're giving you numbers and you'll have to divide to get there. So I'm going to put a multiplication and a division so I can decide. All right? So if I need to know how much he needs to save, he's going to save the same amount each month for 6 months. What do I have to know first? I need to know how much money he needs. So how much does it cost? And how much does he have? What's the difference? If I say difference, what kind of problem is that? Oops. Hopefully you said subtraction. You have to subtract. That's how much it costs, $330, but he has $120. When you subtract, the difference is what? Say it out loud. $210. So he needs $210. That's how much he needs at the end. How many months is he going to save? 6 months. And so what are we going to do? I didn't write it down yet. Are we going to multiply 210 times 6? Because if we do that, we're going to get a bigger number than what he even needs. We're going to divide it. So 210 divided by 6 months equals what? X. Okay? And then it says solve the problem and explain how you arrived at your answer. Remember, we're still working on this. I really want us to get to where we can just say those ones pretty quickly and think them through our head. So right now you're going to divide it, and you can check with mine if you haven't already. If you have already, then right away you're going to tell someone at your table how you got to that answer. If you're dividing, divide it quickly, and then tell someone how you got there. Division should look like this. So how much money does he need to save each month? $35. Put the label on there. And then tell someone how you arrived at that answer.